What's good, guys? Your boy, Mr. Old School Rider. Come back at you one more again on Hey, Use Your Inside Voice Live, episode number 4, season 2. I have a very special guest on the line from the podcast. I have Miss Hollie D from, if I can say this, golly, fuck it. I know I'm probably going to say it wrong. Fuck it. Guys, she got to tell you yourself. Miss Hollie, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How about you? Yeah, you're going to tell them the name of your podcast.
So the name of my podcast is Fuck It, I'm Over 40. So, but of course I try to keep it clean. So it's like F asterisk asterisk K. But yeah, it's called Fuck It, I'm Over 40.
So why that particular name for the podcast? I'm very interested in that story.
Honestly, it was just, I was sitting here thinking, I'm like, okay, what am I going to call my podcast? What is the premise? And basically just like talking about love, life, and the pursuit of happiness and all things adulting over the age of 40. And so typically when most people turn 40, they get to this point where it's just like, I don't give a damn, fuck what everybody has to say. So that's hence, fuck it, I'm over 40.
Oh man, that's a snappy title. I like that.
Well,
I don't know why I did not come up with that title for myself. But of course, I started this podcast. It's been a year already, 2020.
Oh, well, congrats on the longevity. Not a lot of us get to that point. So I'm glad to see you still around.
It had some challenges up and down and stuff like that. We had some audio issues here and now, but we kind of figure it out. Hopefully you don't have YouTube playing in the background anywhere, do you?
No, I don't have any.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah. No.
It does. Okay, I just want to make sure it does play a big part in interference and other stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't have anything planned.
So tell us about yourself a little bit without going too personal, Hollie.
Okay, well, I'm Hollie D. I created this wonderful podcast called Fuck It, I'm Over 40. I am a Florida girl by birth, but a world traveler overall. I am a proud HBCU alumni, and I'm a Sagittarius.
Okay, that's what's up, Florida girl.
Yeah.
Oh man, all right. I'm gonna let you have the floor here just for a little bit. Do your thing.
Okay. So the premise behind one day I just came up, and honestly, it was a lot to do with the pandemic. I had this idea. I wanted to get into stand-up, but of course, when the panoramic hit back in 2020, I couldn't do that. Nobody was going anywhere.
Panoramic. That's funny. No, keep going. That's kind of funny. Sorry.
Yeah, Panoramic, Panda Express, Panavision, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so I've always had this idea of, just reaching out to people and just honestly running my mouth. I was one of those kids growing up that I always got into trouble for talking way too much. So this is actually a passion project of mine. Like I finally got to a place in my life where I can commit that time. And then with the pandemic happening, it was kind of like a perfect storm. Even then, it still took me some time, but I'm loving every bit about it. So it's basically my perspective, a Gen X perspective, a Black woman's perspective about all things about life. So, and honestly, I didn't hear a voice that sounded like mine in the podcast stratosphere. So I was like, why not? Here I am. So that's how Fuck It, I'm 40 came about.
All right, you're gonna do your thing. You just gotta, just keep on going. I mean, I noticed you use a studio as well, correct, for your podcast?
Yes, there's a local studio. I live here in South Florida, so it's a Black-owned podcast studio. Matter of fact, it is the only Black-owned podcast studio in the area. It's called the AV Club, and I use that. It's actually really great. It's very intimate, very great. It has everything there. And then sometimes I work from home. So, yeah.
Yeah, like tonight, I usually I'm trying to transition this particular show into like a live show, like almost every show. But for right now, we back home, of course. But
Yeah.
like once a month, I do broadcast from the Reverb at the Hard Rock Hotel in downtown Atlanta, next
Oh,
to
okay.
Mercedes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got another show in a couple weeks, of course, but that's trying to transition over there, hopefully, like
Oh, okay.
almost full time.
Oh, well, that's what's up.
But this premise of this particular show, where it's a car based channel, of course. We pretty much talk about everything like relationships, a little bit sex here and there. Sometimes
Okay.
get a little wild on here. Not me, be my guest. I'll be trying to keep the show a little short, but people won't let me do it. They want me to talk. But we're gonna be on here for a minute, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm liking the vibe so far.
Hey, that'll work right there. But I mean, we talk about world issues, business, things like that. If you saw some of the episodes, we pretty much all over the place. But at the end of the day, we pretty much come together. We talk about your first and favorite cars coming up, growing up. Of course, we'll get to that here in a little bit.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit more about the show. How many episodes do you have so far?
Well, right now, I have done roughly about 6 episodes. I have 2 in the tank that still needs to be produced, edited and published. But I try to make sure that I'm posting at least once a week. Honestly, my first podcast, I actually posted it right before Thanksgiving. It was 2 podcasts, and then of course every week just posting something. But I'm trying to get into the rhythm of it, at least posting every week between Monday and Thursday. Like I said before, I mean, just like you, we run the gamut, but really it's coming from a Gen X perspective. Like you don't hear anybody in their 40s and in their 50s, that whole generation before Y2K, the generation where you had to rewind the cassette with a pencil or you really had to go look up stuff using the Dewey Decimal System in school. So I think it's a really unique place to be. I'm actually enjoying being in my 40s. I actually just turned 42 back in December. And so it's sort of like I have a new lease on life. I'm like a teenager, but I have much more money, a whole lot more money to do a whole lot more stuff. So I'm honestly just taking the bull by the horns and sharing my experience along the way. Like I said before, I didn't hear a voice that sounded like mine. I know that people like me exist out in the world, but you don't see them. So here I am. Hello world. How you doing?
Yeah, shout out to the Rider Gang, of course, but also my second show is the Riders Book Club as well. Mm-hmm. That's a podcast. It's mainly book authors or people that write that come on the show, and some influencers every now and then. Mm-hmm. But we basically going to have a book fair or book fest, whatever you want to call it, around like Juneteenth.
Okay.
In Atlanta, and the parking will be free.
Okay.
I got the parking.
Right. Well, you know what? I might have to make a trip. I mean, of course, I know I'll be up there. I'll probably be up there February, March, but definitely for that, I won't miss it.
It's summertime, it's summertime in Atlanta. You know how it is.
Yeah, it's hot. It's hot, but I don't know. But being down here in South Florida, it gets hot too. Even with the beaches being around. So I'm kind of used to it either or.
Yeah, I actually got to get down there to, Florida here maybe a month or two. I was supposed to go down there last year. It just didn't work out because all the panoramic roof was still kind of acting up a little bit. I am going to steal that now. I like that panoramic.
Yeah, the panoramic. That was when the Delta Airlines variant was going around. Now we got Omarion.
And they call it something. They got something that's developing right now in France. They say Omarion, he kind of skating away right now. I'm like, dang.
Well, you know what? They shouldn't have called it Omarion. They, the way this COVID variant is touching everybody, it's more like Tristan Thompson.
It ain't touching me. It just jumped over.
Right. just touching everybody, just like laying hands all over the place. But yeah, hopefully we can get through this. It has definitely been a challenge. So I think
Oh yeah, shout out to Tristan Thompson. No, he doing the Lord's work right now. He's spreading his seed out here.
He is
watering the
populating
plants
the earth.
out here.
He is populating the earth.
Oh yeah, he watering the gardens out there. Shout out to him. Cheers to you, buddy.
Yeah, he touching everybody. Just whoop, touch.
Oh, y'all see how you put that in Tristan Thompson tomorrow, Yana. You funny.
So yeah, but honestly, like I said before, I'm really excited. Like I said, my podcast is in its infancy. All of this is new, especially the marketing and social media and everything like that. So I'm really excited to see where things are going. Just trying to build up that audience. So any feedback you can give, I'm all about it. Just trying to grow my audience.
Oh, we'll chop it there behind the scenes like we're doing right now. We'll talk about that later. But everybody got a lot to learn from each other, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and it's surprising how even in the algorithms with Instagram, I've seen so many other micro influencers and brand new podcasters that are coming out. So it's really exciting. I mean, it's interesting because I was just having this conversation with a friend of mine, and it seems as though, I don't really think that podcasting is going anywhere, because as long as you're a human being and long as you have a perspective on life, there is somebody out there that's gonna want to listen to it. I mean, honestly, I find myself watching more of YouTube and listening to more podcasts and listening to other people's perspectives than I do actual TV. Matter of fact, I need to cancel my cable because it's like YouTube is not that. YouTube is free. I mean, if you want to get a little YouTube TV, that's different. But honestly, I don't think the realm of podcasting is going anywhere anytime soon.
Yes, you're absolutely right about the podcasting thing is growing, of course. Yeah, I was supposed to do this maybe like 4 years ago. I got inspired like with somebody else say, hey, just go out there and just do it.
Mm-hmm.
I know back then the equipment was kind of expensive. I was worried about, man, I got to get this. I got to get that. I want all the special effects.
Right.
I'm like, I did a couple episodes. I'm like, you know what, man, I can't. This is going to be trash.
Right. And look at you now.
Luckily I took those. I wasn't no. It was 2016 or 17 actually. Dang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually had 2 of them out there, but I took them down like very quickly. Whoever got those 2 episodes, hey, please forgive me.
No, I actually had a YouTube channel like 8 or 9 years ago. When one of the many jobs that I've had over the years is that I was an English language teacher. I was an English language teacher in South Korea. So like you didn't really see that many Black people. It was definitely one of those things you saw the others doing. And most of the people did come from English speaking countries. So I was just really giving my perspective because like I wasn't even in a major city. I was like out in the boondocks. So me walking around in this area where it's 100% Korean, it was very interesting. So I kind of documented my time doing that, but that's the last time I did anything very similar to this. So
are you on YouTube? Are you on YouTube right now? Or are you basically just doing it on Instagram and the Anchor app?
Honestly, I actually just rebranded my YouTube channel. So yes, I actually posted one of my first episodes. I posted one of my first episodes on YouTube. So yes, I am on YouTube now.
It can work to your advantage.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to grow this audience.
Especially when you're on camera too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the next thing. I've started kind of implementing that. I noticed I got really good feedback. I did like kind of a small Instagram video from when I was in the studio over the weekend, and I'm seeing how much traffic that I've gotten just off of that, just asking a simple question. So I definitely want to start incorporating the video. I think honestly, those are my favorite podcasts anyhow, just to be like, hey, I can reach out and touch you. I know what this person is. I know what this person looks like. I can see the emotion in their face. If they talk with their hands and stuff like that. So I definitely think video podcasting, between video and audio, is not going anywhere. And I'm really excited to take it on myself.
Yes, you're absolutely right about the I got to get more in tune with Instagram. I'm trying to perfect this YouTube thing. I've been on the app for like a long time, but I just basically took this a little bit seriously last year. And, starting like a month or so ago, I put a little bit more money into it.
Yeah.
I mean, on my next live show that I'm going to have at the Hard Rock, I'm going to have my engineer and my camera guy there.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully they show up, but last time a cameraman disappeared.
No. Where'd it go?
I have no idea, but hey, I had to make do. I mean, it looked like I recorded on a toaster, but the light helped it out a little bit, It was a good show, actually. Shout out to Chopping with Late Night with Auntie, of course, but that was my first episode with a live person.
Okay.
But the show in a couple of weeks going to have a few guests on there, of course. That's what I'm trying to transition into. It's pretty much going to be a car talk show.
Okay.
We're gonna have everything like we're doing right now, but it's still centered around cars at the end of the day.
But it's funny. I'm actually glad that you did reach out to me, because that's one of the things that I love. Like, I'm one of those people that I'm re-upping on vehicles every 2 or 3 years, because that's just my thing. Like, people have their certain things that they like to spend their money on. I personally, I'm a car person, so I'm already looking for the next vehicle, and I've had this one, the one I have right now. I've had it since 2019. But I'm already ready to upgrade. But I'm gonna wait until the used car prices go down a little bit, because they are ridiculous.
You're not lying about that.
Yeah. I'm like, ain't nobody gonna get finance for that. Like, you wanted more than what the cars were. So I was like, you know what? This might be a situation where I might just wait on it. But I definitely, I'm one of those people when it comes to cars. I like the technology side of it. I like all the gadgets and the gadgets. And that's funny, because I look at that first. Of course, is it appealing to me? But then the major thing is how much technology is in the vehicle. So that's really one of my reasons why I typically upgrade every 2-3 years. So
I mean, I like technology to like a certain extent. One of my other cars, I have like a newer Honda Accord, the new body style Accords, but I try to stay away from that car for the longest. I had like a 2017 for the longest. I bought that body style like so many times, like at least 4 or 5 times. And my main car I move around in, it's my Jetta, of course. It's a diesel.
Oh.
No, that's what I bought the Georgia with, of course. It got me through some good times and bad times. It made me so much money in that car. I was able to afford a lot of other stuff, but on those new Honda Accords, it's too much daggone technology. It doesn't drive itself.
Really?
It's like it's not no Tesla, no, it's still a gas car. But they have like certain technology. They have the lane assistant, it'll stay in your lane.
Yeah.
And some parts of it, it'll keep what I'm trying to call it. I don't know what I'm trying to call it. It'll help. You don't have to put your hands on the steering wheel most of the time.
Right. Like the cruise control or something like that.
Yeah, you set it, it'll start, you set the cruise control, it'll stay in its lane and it'll speed up. Yeah, when I first bought it, I bought that car a few times as well this year, but you should see my credit report. It say it have all the loans on it. It's like 0 paid off. A couple of them got smashed up. I wasn't in the car, of course. And because of the car, because of the used car market, they're giving you like way more than the car is worth.
Yeah.
It depends on your car. Like, hey, we need that car. Well, because of the microchip shortage, there's no chips for the new cars to get made. So what happened with the used car market? It just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
I don't know. You noticed that here recently, but
Oh no, and I did because especially down here in South Florida, you pretty much can get anything you want for a fairly decent price. But the thing is that sorry, I got my dog here because she's she needs attention. But I noticed down here you can pretty much get anything you want at a fairly decent price. Now you may have extra mileage on it. It may have been a couple accidents. It may have had a couple of owners, but for the most part you can find it. But I noticed I'm just interested just seeing what's out there, and it's looking like maybe a 15 or 20% increase in terms of what used car prices are going for. So I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna just wait until everything kind of resets itself before I consider trading my car in. Plus my car is good. I've got super low mileage on it. I'm straight.
Yes, Holly. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I was like, what happened?
I have no idea, but what I was basically saying with some of the used cars, I have not bought a car that's actually from Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much got my cars from like other states. I know
Mm-hmm.
in here in Georgia, I know I'm not knocking the hustle, but certain people, get cars for their two-row business or like rent a car stuff or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Most of those cars kind of be, I'm not gonna say hood out, but they kind of be like, you can tell they've been driven real good.
Yeah, they just go ahead and say it. They dog them out. They dog out those tour cars just like they dog out a regular Hertz, Alamo, Enterprise rental car. So
Yeah, the last three cars I bought last year, they from pretty much I bought them from Tennessee.
mm-hmm.
It just happened to be from two from Memphis and the other one from Nashville. They just happened to just be over there. Those cars been so daggone clean. No, I ain't had no scratches on my rims in so long.
Wow. So is that the main reason why you don't like buying out of Georgia? Is just the quality of the vehicle, the used vehicle?
They tax. I mean, everybody's taxing right now, of course.
Okay.
But with cars in Georgia, people get cars to flip them or they get cars to, do their business in, which I'm not knocking.
Right.
But when it comes to my stuff, I gotta go somewhere else for it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you on that one because, like, I bought my car used, and it came all the way from California. Just looking out for the Carfax history, and clearly, this was definitely someone who just really didn't need a car because they didn't drive it. So for 2016, I bought it at like 19,000 miles. So I've had it now for it's 2020. I bought it in 2019, a few years now. And I just broke 35,000 a month ago.
You drove the hell out that car, huh?
I mean, I work what I do in my professional life. I work in field sales, so it requires me to travel in my territory. That's the only reason why you got that many miles on it. Other than that, luckily with the Panda Express, I didn't drive as much, but because we've been working from home ever since.
Oh yeah, it's all good. I don't stay that far from the job. It just takes forever to get there. In Atlanta, traffic just crazy for no reason.
I don't know. People keep saying Atlanta traffic is crazy. Me personally, I think Fort Lauderdale, Miami traffic is crazy. I think if you look at most major cities, they have their thing about traffic. I think in Atlanta, it's because there's so many people, right? It's the abundance. But down here, listen, I have been passed in a souped up 1997 Honda Civic hatchback going 120 miles an hour on 95, and I almost pissed on myself because he went by so fast, just zooming in and out. So not only do you have that, but because this area is, it's just a melting pot of people, particularly a lot of people that come from countries where when it comes to driving, there may not be the standard like it is here. So they just like driving everywhere. It is nothing for you to see like two luxury cars smash into each other or T-bone. And it's just like they drive like it ain't, but they ain't got nothing to lose.
You said Fort Lauderdale and Miami. How close are they to each other?
Well, Fort Lauderdale is north of Miami, and from the border, from the county border to the county border, it's literally maybe like 20-30 minutes, depending on what part of Fort Lauderdale you're in. So I'm in the western suburbs. So for me, it might take me 20 minutes to get to the northernmost part of Miami-Dade.
Oh yeah, one of my guests from Fort Lauderdale. I was supposed to hopefully hook up with him, hopefully this year.
Okay.
Of course, but 2022 is the pull-up year, of course, for me.
Yeah, me too.
I will be putting up on some of my guests. I will let y'all know in advance. Of course, shout out to AM1. We're gonna be doing some work here in the near future on my show. He's a great editor, photographer, videographer. Damn, I can't even say it. He pretty much is good at his craft. I know I'm saying it wrong, but he good at his work.
Right.
Well, we're gonna be working together here sometime this year, hopefully soon. Just got to drag him out here to Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's the Panavision is really messing people up. There's still people that don't want to fly and they want to move a whole around a lot. And then, like you said, with this new variant, it's just kind of waiting and seeing right now.
Oh yeah, at my job, I will not fly at all. I don't want to, wear no I don't want to wear a scarf on the plane and stuff. That's my thing. It's already kind of hard enough being on the airplane already, but putting on something else on the plane, I'm like, now we good. All my trainings I've been to for my job, I training centers in Oklahoma. I drive. I'm a driver.
Okay.
Every time we go to training, I'm driving.
Wow. That's a long ride though, from Atlanta to Oklahoma.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm from Texas. I used to drive home bi-weekly. That's in my Jetta, of course, not the Honda, but that diesel, I can go like a tank and a half from Georgia to Texas in that car.
Oh wow.
It's like close to 50 something miles a gallon with the AC on.
Oh well, yeah, you getting your money's worth out of that car then. Well, let me ask you a question. Since you're a driver by profession, what's been the longest?
Oh, it's not profession, but I just got okay. Now my job is stationary, but when I go visit somebody, I drive like might well say 100% of the time.
Okay. So what's the longest drive you've taken within the past year or so?
Actually, 2 weeks ago, I went back to Texas.
Oh, okay.
13 and a half hours.
Want to know my longest drive? My longest drive was because I'm originally from the Panhandle, out of Tallahassee. So I drove it was when I was going to live in Phoenix. So I went from Tallahassee all the way just straight across I-10 to Phoenix. And that was 24 hours.
My God.
Yeah, that was 24 hours. I'm like, first and last, I don't need to do no more cross-country trips.
How was it going through the desert?
It was because honestly, I've never, up until that point, I had never really driven in that type of element. Hell, I had never really driven in Texas. When I tell you, when I hit that Texas line from Louisiana, it was an eye opener because it's like once you come out of Louisiana, I don't know if it's Beaumont or it's like you right up when you're coming through Houston. It was too much. It was too much. I thought I was going to get ran over. And then once it started settling down, once you got into San Antonio, it was okay, but then it started becoming hilly. And then once you got into parts of New Mexico, it was really interesting. It was like, I was driving, I was like, oh my gosh, look at all these mountains and all that stuff. So it was definitely a unique experience. Now, do I have the desire to do it again? I'm straight. If I
You just
see
gotta have
Phoenix,
all your liquids and your, you gotta have a little bit of everything when you're going through Texas. It's like
listen,
going through. It's like a whole day almost.
it's a whole day. It literally is a whole day. It was a whole, I started in the morning, leaving, I was like roughly outside of Houston, and it took the whole day to just get to, it was it San Antonio? I think it's probably El Paso. But yeah, but then
Oh, you
it
talking
was
about the border of Texas? Okay.
yeah. But the interesting thing was it was just interesting to see the how the dynamic changed in Texas. So like you have like the big city of, like the Houston area, and then you go further into San Antonio, and then once you get to El Paso, because El Paso also has military installations there, and it's like literally up on the border. Because I remember I'm up on the border of Mexico, because I remember I made a wrong turn. I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to go into Mexico, and I ain't got my passport.
Yeah, you gotta be. Yeah, I almost made the mistake in years past, doing some work or whatever. But yeah, if you turn the wrong way in El Paso, you mess around and get locked up.
I know. I was just like, oh my gosh, where am I going?
I mean, I'll be riding, I ride semi clean, of course. I have to be careful when I go through El Paso. You can get cut off, or, you go the wrong detour. Next thing you know, hey, can y'all come get me?
Yeah, he ended up being, what is that? What's the border town there? Juarez? Yeah. I mean, it was a new experience for me, but definitely making that long trek. And I mean, I really went from one side of the country to another, because by the time you get to Phoenix, you're only like 4 or 5 hours away from Los Angeles. So
yeah, Phoenix was one of those cities I was gonna, at my job, I had a choice to go to like a certain part. It was either going to be like New York, Phoenix. Of course, Atlanta was on there. Houston,
right.
I think St. Louis was on there as well, and North Dakota actually.
Wait a minute, hold on. How did North Dakota get into the equation of places that you could go? Everything else makes sense.
I'm low key. I'm a low key type of person. That'd been a perfect place for me, but I think they call it Grand Forks or I think it's Grand Falls. It's like an hour from Canada. That was like the appeal for me. I'm like, you know what? I can just drive up there real quick, eat lunch. That's bragging rights, go to Canada for lunch.
Right, and come on back.
Get on back real quick.
Right.
But, they responded a little bit too late. Atlanta calling. I'm like, I don't want to go to Atlanta. That was the last place on earth that I wanted to be in, Atlanta. I mean, I'm low key. I like it kind of slow on my end, I don't like this fast paced stuff. It remind me too much of Houston.
Okay.
Well, Atlanta like super turned up.
It's like I said, it's been a minute since I've been to Atlanta, but I'm sure nothing has changed. If anything, it's probably amplified. But yeah, I remember living in Atlanta too. I'm like, I just want to be low key. That's why I was like, I don't mind living outside of the perimeter. I really didn't.
Yeah, outside the perimeter is not even being in Georgia, really.
Outside the perimeter is like, it don't even connect with.
You go to the mountains.
Right. It don't even connect with the rest of the metro area.
Yeah, you got to go to White County or something like that, like close to Tennessee or whatnot. But
yeah, no. But like I said, I plan on making a trip. I mean, since we have like, the Panda Express going on still, you have all these different restrictions going into different countries. Me and my best friend, we was like, we might as well just like explore the US. Now, I've done a lot of traveling myself, but there's definitely places I want to go again. Like my favorite place is New Orleans. I haven't been there. I want to maybe do Mardi Gras this year and Essence Fest. But like, I just think there's so many great places across the country to just explore. I don't mind doing a little bit of driving, but anything cross country greater than like 6 hours, y'all can have it.
Yeah, well, you need to get your airplane flight then. Every day.
If you catch it early, that's a great thing about living down here in South Florida. Matter of fact, like I live not too far from the airport. Like, boop, you get anywhere. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Spirit, but if I really want to go someplace, I will pay $20 to. I'll pay $20 to come to Atlanta.
Yeah, Spirit Airlines break your spirit sometimes. Like, Lord, why did I get on here?
But you know what? Spirit is not. Listen, I don't. Yes, you're right. Spirit will break your spirit. But I've taken when I've gone out of the country to Mexico. That's really the only like COVID friendly place you can go to, on top of a couple other places. There's like a nonstop from here to Cancun. It actually wasn't that bad, but I was sitting in the big seats. I wasn't gonna sit in the back. Now call me bougie if you want to, but that's where it began and ended. If I can't be in those big seats, I don't want it. I don't want it.
Okay. I mean, I'm a window person myself anyway, but hey, it don't matter for me. I just don't want to be in the front.
No, it wasn't that bad, but yeah.
I might give Spirit another chance here one day. We're going to see. Hey, last time I flew, that was years ago.
I'm telling you, if you're gonna fly Spirit, first of all, you might want to get insurance on your ticket because they good about canceling flights. But also just try the big seats. Those are the first 4 seats in the front. They do have a window seat. It's not that bad. But honestly, if I do have to travel on Spirit, that's the only way I'm going. I'm sorry.
So, what was your favorite place to travel to since you've been all over the world, pretty much?
I mean, it was the most it was honestly the most challenging, but it was the most rewarding experience. And honestly, that was when I was in South Korea. Now, my background is I'm a military brat. So my dad was in the military. He was in the army for like 20, 25 years. So of course, being a dependent, you kind of traveled all over the place. We did Europe, we did Asia. And then living in those places, you can just kind of spread your wings and kind of, explore the continents and stuff. But on my own as an adult, there's 2 places that come to mind. The first one was South Korea because I actually lived there. Like I actually paid rent, paid utilities. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just visiting and coming back. I'm like, no, like I have a residence here. So what made that really interesting is because I was truly on my own. I really didn't have anybody to fall back on. And that was the first time I had kind of been quote unquote alone in this world by myself because I didn't have any friends there. It was a 12-hour difference between being in Korea and the East Coast. So as I'm waking up, people are going to bed and vice versa. So I had to wait and have those conversations over the weekend. 2, I didn't speak the language. Like my Korean is like
At
this.
all?
I mean, I knew like hello and goodbye. I knew hello and goodbye and where's the bus stop because that's another thing that was really that was a big difference for me because I couldn't drive. Like I didn't have a car. That was the first time I really had to depend on public transportation, which it wasn't bad at all because it's very efficient. It was very efficient in South Korea. But yeah, between not speaking the language, between not knowing what I was eating half the time, it took a minute. It was a big adjustment, but it was the best time of my life because that's where I did the most growth. I still remember just being at the bus stop and like the little Korean grandmas, we call them ajumas, all the little ajumas, they would be going to the rice paddies and stuff like that. And if I was missing, they would wait. I remember one time I was running late and then like the bus was getting ready to pull off and they actually waited on me. Now, mind you, I could still never communicate with these women, but you pantomime enough and, use hand gestures, you figure it out. But that was the most interesting place I had been and the place where I grew the most. And then the second favorite place I went to was Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. Now that was an eye opener. Like we talk about poverty here in the United States. Our poverty is a luxury in some like third world and developing countries. So just being able to explore, just explore the country that, of course, Ethiopia is one of the only places in Africa where it wasn't colonized by Europe. So, just seeing how they were just independent and the culture, it was great. So those are my two favorite places that I've been to in my lifetime.
I always wonder about that about Ethiopia and the other countries and stuff like that. One day I'm gonna be. I mean, I gotta get out to Africa here one day. Got to get the yellow card and all this other stuff. But hopefully, that's on my bucket list actually. But I want to see what it is for real.
I mean, honestly, I wish I knew. I'm a history major, and I still don't know how come Ethiopia was never colonized by Europe. But I had a good time. Like I said before, it really was a humbling experience because, like I said before, poverty in Ethiopia is nothing compared to what you see in an industrialized country. Like, I'm sure like how you have people that are less fortunate, they may depend on assistance and stuff like that. I ain't see that there. Like literally seeing people beg on the street. It was humbling. It was humbling. I mean, I had a chance. That was the time I've had many, like I said, I've had many jobs. And one of them is when I was a flight attendant. And that's how I got a chance to go to Ethiopia. And so while we were there, we actually volunteered at an orphanage, which was designated with kids that had AIDS and HIV. And that actually propelled me to getting into philanthropy work, giving back to kids, little Black and brown kids that look just like me. So every place I've gone to has had a significance in what I do right now and who I am today. So
that's a great eye opener right there. Okay.
Yeah.
It will work right there. So we're going to transition here for a second.
Okay.
Since we're still a car-based channel, of course, what was your first car that you have growing up since you had all these experiences?
Well, the first car I had access to, which was because my parents, for some reason, our house always looked like a used car lot because there were more cars than people that lived in the house. So the first car that I had access to was a Jetta, a Volkswagen Jetta. I remember my dad was trying to teach me how to drive a stick shift.
Jetta gang.
Listen, I was unsuccessful. He was like, "We're not gonna do this. We're not." So like, what was left when I became of age to drive? It was the first car that I had access to was a 1984 Toyota pickup truck. And it was customized. Like it had customized painting. It had upholstery in it. It was like, it wasn't just no regular truck. It was a customized truck. My dad bought it used. And then the funny thing was it had like a rattlesnake tag on the front. I didn't really know what the significance was, but like that's the truck that I drove when I was in high school. So everybody used to pick at me talking about where the snake at, where the snake truck at. So I used that to my advantage because like when the football team was hungry and they wanted to go to Burger King and they didn't want to walk to Burger King because like our high school was down the street from Burger King, like I was like, hey, give me $1 and I'll take you up there. So that was my little hustle. I would just carry the football team on the back of the truck. Y'all talk trash all you want to, but it worked to my advantage.
Oh yeah, we pretty much are around the same age group. You said $1. Yeah, I remember gas was like 99 cents.
Yep.
And we're not gonna say what year it was. It was like 19 something, but yeah, it was like 98 cents, 85.
Yep.
Man, we was wasting gas back in the day. Especially if we had some money in our pocket.
Yo, you was going everywhere. You had $5. You could go up and down the state if you wanted to. But yeah, just getting $1 from them. You have like 5-6 football players. That was my gas money for a couple of weeks. So like I banked. I love that truck. And then, I was like, "Ooh, but I don't want to drive this truck no more." It was my senior year. Then my parents had a Volvo, a 19, the box Volvos and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, that's a classic right there. I have
Yeah.
one of my old cars is a Volvo as well, but yeah, they
Mhm.
tough.
Yeah, they were tough. You know how tough they were? Because I got in an accident when I went into my first year in undergrad, because I went to Florida A&M. First year undergrad, I took the Volvo with me to school.
Shout out to the
And
Rattlers.
and guess who was in an accident off of Ridge Road?
Oh,
It was me. There was nothing wrong with the car. Like, it had a slight dent in the in the front, but like I hit a Nissan Altima, and that bad boy was trashed in the back. I'm like, God, so I don't know what that Volvo was made of. It must have been real steel, not plastic. But I was rough on cars in the beginning, so
yeah,
I've calmed
those
down a little
Swedish,
bit.
yeah, those Swedish cars are pretty tough.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I have a 66 myself. It's like a real old Volvo, but it's called Volvo Amazon. It's a two-door. It's on my page, of course.
Mhm.
That's one of those cars I'm gonna have to get to one of these days. But that car was sitting in a junkyard for like I think like 10 or 15 years. Basically, I'm like, this car ain't gonna start. I was tinkering. I gotta go pick it up. I mess with it every now and then. I was tinkering with it. All
Mhm.
the windows still roll up. I had to spray no lubricant or nothing on it. I'm like, this door is not going to open. I turned the crank. I'm like, okay, it might start. We
Mhm.
put a hot battery on there. We sprayed some stuff in the carburetor. I turned the key. It's like maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Next thing you know, it fired up. I'm like, what? I'm like, I knew the power of Volvo.
Listen, they don't make cars like that anymore. I hate to say it, but Volvo, like, it seemed like up until like maybe 5-10 years ago, you would see those old school Volvos around. Not anymore. I guess everybody then ran them into the junkyard now.
I mean, it's still a Volvo. I mean, they have a community like everybody else. It's a big community here in Atlanta, of course,
Okay.
especially those box Volvos that you're talking about.
Mhm.
I think they body styles the 740, if I'm not mistaken, but that's especially station wagons.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'll get one of those one day, but I'm trying to narrow down certain cars right now. I have like too many. Of course, I got to get to I think I'm up to like 6 or 7 right now in vehicles, like old stuff.
I was
And
about to
like,
say, how many you have again? 6 or 7?
I believe 6 or 7 regular stuff. It's like, hold on, let me think real quick. The 80 Mercedes wagon. I got 2 old school BMW, 74 and a 76, 2002, like the small 2-door car. I
Mm-hmm.
got the Volvo. It's 3 up here. I got 3 Oldsmobiles, and what the hell's the other car? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I have a Blazer. That's right.
Oh,
I have an
okay.
86 Blazer.
Okay.
It might be 6 or 7. I'm not even sure right now, but people just keep giving me stuff.
Well, based on how old you're saying, shouldn't they qualify for like a classic tag by now?
Oh, I have
Don't you?
old car. I got that. I have old car insurance on it. If they get totaled out,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting paid,
Oh, okay, good.
guaranteed. It's a company called Haggerty and also Grunde. They specialize in the old cars, like old
Mm-hmm.
car insurance. If I try to put like regular insurance, like Geico or anything like that, if they get wrecked, they go give you like $500 for an old car.
Yeah. Well,
So
I'm
those
good. I'm glad
particular,
you got it.
a white man actually hit me on to it back in the day. No, I ain't
Oh.
saying he was. I'm not saying he was scamming, but he put up in a Mustang Chevy like years later. I
Mm-hmm.
remember him having like a bunch of old cars. They wasn't like high up or anything. Like it was just some basic old cars, like some old Chryslers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, somehow they got wrecked, totaled out, stolen and stuff like that. Then I sent them like a few years back. I'm like, how the heck you get a Chevy Mustang? Like the 60s. I'm like, this car's like $100 and some $1,000. I'm like, I'm not saying he
Yeah.
was scamming, but he's like, hey, if something happened to your vehicle, unfortunately, quotations, they'll cut you a check.
Basically. Well, it's a good thing that you found that type of coverage because, like you said, because of the age, you're not going to get nothing on it. I mean, they don't like to give people the value of their vehicle, and it might be a brand new car or something that's a later model. So, a good thing that you did find that. So,
I mean, right now, coverage on each car is like 136. The highest I have on that BMW, of course, it's like 240 something.
mm-hmm.
That's the highest. That's full coverage.
Oh, okay.
12 months.
When
They
it
come and
comes
look at your car, say, "Hey, this how much I have. This how much the car is worth." They'll look at the book, you're like, "Hey, okay." They'll write it up,
mm-hmm.
write your policy, and boom, you cover for 12 months. They also cover your parts to a certain extent and things like that, which is a good thing,
Yeah.
which I like about those companies. But I think I have like it's like $1,000 and something for all the cars to be insured every year.
Oh, well, that's not bad. I mean, because I'm about to say, being down in South Florida, that is one thing that the insurance be killing you. I'm like, dang, that's a whole another car note.
I mean, they insure and they insure in Texas, of course. Texas registration is set for the Mercedes, but Georgia's also high on insurance as well, very high.
Yeah. I mean, anywhere, I think as long as you live in a metropolitan area, you just gonna pay out the wazoo for insurance. Period. There's no escaping that. You want to live in a metro area, get ready to pay for insurance.
You're right about that. Yeah, before we transition here, especially on my what car was that? Yeah, on my Jetta cars, I was paying maybe like it was very cheap. I think a year. It might have been like 700, 800. Came to
Mm-hmm.
Georgia, it's like 12
Oh,
for the whole year.
oh my goodness. No, when I moved to South Florida, I moved from Pennsylvania. And I had a 2014 Hyundai Sonata whole thing. By the time I traded it in, it had like 150,000 miles. Because again, I work in corporate sales, so I have to move around quite a bit. And my territory in Pennsylvania was much larger than it is here in South Florida. So by the time I got here, I mean, I had full coverage, more than enough. But to have the same level of coverage on that same car, it was literally double the cost. So I actually had to drop some of my protection in order for me not to be paying an entire car note. And then when I traded my vehicle in, it was only because the car it was a 2016. And at the time that I purchased it, it had less than 20,000 miles on it. So that was the saving grace on me not paying an arm, a leg, a couple of toes, and all my nails for insurance.
It be like that sometimes, And on my other newer car, the Honda, man, I'm getting towed up out here in Georgia. It's like a new car too.
Oh man, how much?
It's
What's
like
the
a down
insurance
there
look
car
like?
note.
Oh
It's
my
like
goodness.
my driving record ain't the most sparkly in the world, but it's gotten a lot better, of course. But yeah, it's up there. It is up there. I'm like, golly, Atlanta just high for no reason. I guess this side of the country, it's just expensive.
I mean, pretty much, yeah. I mean, because when you think about the other side of the country, I mean, outside of the major metropolitan areas, of course, outside of the Los Angeles metro area, Seattle, and in Portland, I mean, the cost of living is not that bad. Even in Phoenix, the cost of living was actually better than it was in Atlanta. Your money went a whole lot further in Phoenix.
I was yeah, man. Sometimes I like, dang, I should have went ahead and moved to Phoenix sometimes.
Well, I mean,
I was thinking about the heat.
You get used to it. Like, for example, I have a dog. So, like, me and the dog know that when we were in Phoenix, we knew that we went out first thing in the morning before the sun came out. And then at night, we didn't go out until the sun was down. And so you keep your blinds closed, everything is tinted. and you keep the AC on high. Now granted, when you got in your car and if you didn't have covered parking, yeah, you're gonna feel it for a couple of minutes. But for the most part, the heat was not a problem for me. The only thing, and I mean, I had career opportunities, so that's why I came back to the East Coast. But I knew I wasn't gonna be there forever. But I mean, because it's too far from my family. I was the only person that was west of Texas.
So you're saying your family is on this side of the country, or they're like on the West Coast?
They're on this side. They're all on the East Coast.
Oh,
Both
that's
my mom's
good.
side of both my mom's side of the family and my dad's side of the family. I didn't have any family members that I knew of on the West Coast. So
Okay, that'll work right there. So
mhm.
we talked about your first car. So let's talk about your favorite car before we transition out of here.
Well, I guess right now my favorite car is the car that I own right now, which is a Mercedes-Benz C300.
I knew you was a
I
Mercedes person. You look like you drive a Mercedes.
I do. Well, I mean, I love that car. I mean, like I said, I got it when I moved out here because there was no way I was driving a luxury vehicle in the snow. Now, people do it all the time, but when you live in a city, and I lived in Philly, you ain't got nothing but off street parking. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait. I waited. When I got down here, got settled, first thing I did was trade my car in, and I I love. I'm. You can call me a Mercedes girl. Like my car I have right now is my favorite, but the one that I'm looking to upgrade to is the CLS 450. So
Whew. Yeah, those are very nice. I like how they redid the body style too. Those are very nice. I see a lot of
I
those up
love
here.
it. Yeah, I love it. I like that it has that sleek look to it. And, like I said before, I'm a sucker for car technology. So the most recent upgrade that Mercedes had to their infotainment, even how like I'm such a tech nerd, a car tech nerd when it comes to stuff like that. I love the fact how in the newer models, when you're backing up, you also have that overhead camera to see exactly how you're going into your parking space. That is, I get off on stuff like that. I was like, honestly, this really, I mean, if I had it on my current vehicle, because mine's a 2016, I don't think that technology came around until like 2018, 2019. So, I love my infotainment, but I'm really looking forward to upgrading just because of that technology. And then, of course, the body style.
I think the infotainment center is a little different as well. The screen is a little bit wider, right?
And the newer one, yes, it's wider. It's a little bit thinner, but it's definitely wide. I think in the newer models, it goes all across the dash. So it
They got a
goes
little bit more, got more information on it.
definitely, definitely. And the screens are touch screen now. So like with the car that I have now, you have like the little spinner wheel and then like the mouse pad, which is fine, but like if I could just touch the screen, that would be better.
Wow. Oh wait, yeah. Man, I like the technology and stuff, but just something about when I go home, I get to jump in one of these old cars.
Mhm.
Or up here, I'll be messing with the stuff up here. It's just no technology. I just get in there and start driving. You had to
Well, see,
pat on, you had to, do your little tricks to, keep it running. But
mhm.
once you get it started, they good to go.
Well, see, and that's where we differ because like I like new. I don't wanna do any work to it. I just want to get in, I want to drive, I want to do the scheduled maintenance, and that's it. So like the newer the better, the easier the better. But I get what you're saying. I see the appeal for having something older, but I'm not on the far end of the spectrum. I'm like, I want something newer.
Yeah, I'm pretty much trying to get used to it. Of course, when I first got this new body style in the Honda, when I drove it, the car had to kind of learn itself a little bit, have all that technology on there. Man,
Hmm.
the owner's guy is big.
Yeah.
It got so much stuff on there for no reason. When I started, the car had to learn itself. I didn't know that at first. Nobody
Mhm.
didn't tell me. Like, hey,
Yeah.
car got to learn itself. You going Be some
And you
growing
said
pains.
that's on like your Honda, or is it
My
on
Honda
the?
Accord, my other car.
Oh, okay. So you mean to tell me they got that thick manual? Does it look like those Bibles that your grandma used to have on the coffee table? Is that
It's
thick?
like this,
Oh,
for a new
okay.
car like this it's a lot for a car like that nowadays.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just like super thick, like that Bible that's on your grandma on on the grandma's countertops.
I mean, that's thick enough for like a newer car, of course, but
Hmm.
when I drove it for the first time, I turned everything on. I'm like, okay, we're gonna put it on cruise control. And I forgot about the lane departure and the other stuff. As soon as
Uh-huh.
someone just in Atlanta traffic, someone just swerved in front of me, the car just said,
Ooh.
car just said, car just stopped.
Oh, really?
Like a hard stop.
Mm.
Man, I kind of jerked back a little bit. I'm like, God, dog. It felt like I got hit, but I didn't get hit. I'm like, dang, this car stopped. The more I drove the car started learning stuff, just hit the set button on the cruise control.
Hmm.
You can barely touch the steering wheel, it'll down there drive itself.
Wow.
Unless
And
the
it's
lines
crazy.
are not in the street.
Right. And that's the interesting thing about the cars that have come out in the mid 2000s is that a lot of the technology that you're seeing now, like you said, in your Honda and stuff like that, that used to be, an add-on in a luxury vehicle. Now it's
Facts.
starting to become standard. So that's a really great thing that I like about the evolution of the technology that you see in vehicles. It's like something that maybe a couple years ago was only found in a BMW or a Porsche or a Mercedes. You now have it in, a Honda, a Toyota. I'm just thinking like push button start. How that's come, how you only saw that in selected cars. Now it's like in almost everybody's car.
Yeah, there was some growing pains back in the old days, but now you can just barely tap it, put your
Yep.
foot on the brake, and boom, the car cuts on.
Yeah.
But my daily driver, my beater, and my Jetta, they got push button starting. That's like the last of the last on technology wise. It's still
Hmm.
new enough, but it don't have all the extra stuff on it. Still got press button start. I got real navigation, and I got a
Hmm.
CD player in there
Oh, wow.
with
Okay.
a backup camera, of course.
Oh, listen, the backup camera saves is saved because down here a lot of people like to back into their parking spaces, so you ain't got to do old school like checking over and looking at the mirrors. Like I like the backup camera. It makes I've avoided so many hitting it so many people by having it. So
Yeah, with the backup camera, you don't even have to lean back no more. You just look at the screen and just back into your
mhm,
spot. I got so spoiled with that.
yeah.
When I jump in the old school, I'm like, hold on, ain't nothing in here. I gotta,
You
sometimes my
got to
neck
do the
be hurting.
work.
I'm like, God, dog. I gotta buy me a kit
Hmm.
to make this work. But we are pretty much getting towards the end right now. So what are your actually, what would you suggest to somebody that want to start a podcast?
Do it. Don't even hesitate about it. I always know when something is for me when it comes up multiple times. So it might come up once, then it comes up again, and then it comes up again. Yeah, excuse me, y'all. If y'all hear something that sounds like a parakeet, it's my dog. Because
Your dog hungry and wants some attention right now.
she more so wants attention. Yorkies like attention, so that's what it is. I have the typical single woman dog, but the
Oh,
typical single woman dog likes attention. But in terms of advice, in terms of starting a podcast, or even in terms of anything, just do it. If the panorama ain't taught us nothing, we are not guaranteed tomorrow. So why wait? Put yourself first when it comes to these things that you want to do. And that's when I decided to put myself first, then I was able to start tapping in to those passion projects. And my podcast is a passion project. And then two, understand it's a process and you got to be patient with yourself.
mm.
So like I know that there are people who've been, like you said, you've been doing it for a year. I just really started in 2021. There's other people they've been doing for a couple years. It takes time for you. If your goal is just to really blow up, that's going to take time. And you got to put in the time, you got to put in the effort. You're honing in on your craft. Like I'm still learning how to operate the studio equipment on my own. You know, you learn a lot about editing. The great thing is there's so many different platforms where they make it just plug and play. But if everyone has a perspective, and if you everyone has a perspective in life, so don't ever marginalize who you are. There's plenty space in the podcast stratosphere for everyone. So don't ever think, oh well, there's already somebody that sounds like me, but it's not you, boo boo. So don't sell yourself short. Just get out there and do it. That's what I did, and that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, there are podcasts about everything right now. I'm like, yeah, y'all talking about
Everything.
that? I'm like, I guess
Everything.
so.
Let me tell you what my favorite podcast is, and it's when I say my favorite, I actually kind of lean close more to the startup ones, not the more. I mean, of course, you have the more established ones, but those are the ones where I didn't feel like there was a place for me. But there is a podcast, you can find it on Spotify. I think it's called Sisters Who Kill. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, hold on. It's really, really interesting. Hold on. I think I have it in my listening history. It is called Sisters Who Kill, a true crime podcast. So literally it's a true crime podcast about crimes that Black women have done in terms of like murder and all that stuff. So it's like it's interesting because it's just like, well, dang, it's sort of like, what's the best way to categorize it? It's sort of like Snapped, like that came on Oxygen, or there's another one that comes on TV1, or it's like murder mysteries and stuff like that. But it's really interesting because they really go into detail, and they sound like they're like millennials or Gen Zers, but it's really interesting. I kind of stumbled upon it one day, but it's really good. That's like my favorite right now.
I'm gonna have to look into that myself. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, they're on Spotify. I found them on Spotify.
So what are your final thoughts at this time? We're gonna chop it up after this, but what's your final thoughts before we ride out?
Well, first of all, please tune into my podcast. That's Fuck It, I'm Over 40. I post every week. You can follow me on my social media. That's My Life in HDTV. Again, that's My Life in HDTV, all one word. Follow me. I'm on YouTube now. So my YouTube channel is Fuck It, I'm Over 40. I'm on Twitter at Over 40 Podcast. Just tune in. It's a Wayne Dang doodle of a time, like I like to say. Follow me, subscribe, comment, like, with all the great things. I welcome it. So yeah, just follow my podcast, and I really appreciate you taking out the time and wanting to talk to me. I appreciate that.
We do appreciate you for coming through, and also, guys, you're gonna interview me here pretty soon. Usually the females try to interview me on my show and try to take over it, but this time around, I'm gonna appear on her show pretty soon. She can interview me on her platform, which is gonna be a first.
Yes. And here using StreamYard, I'm excited. So, look for that episode to come. I'm ready. I hope you ready. But again, don't forget to follow me. You can follow me on Spotify. I mean, it's the easiest way to do it because both iPhone and Android users have access to me. So yeah, just follow my podcast. It's awesome. Go listen to it.
Oh yeah, that is awesome right there. We're gonna chop it up for a couple of seconds before my next episode come on here shortly.
Okay.
We do welcome everybody for coming through on Hey Use Your Inside Voice Live with Mr. Old School Rider, which is me and my special guest, Hollie D from Florida, of course. Home of they do everything y'all hear about on the news. Yes, that's true.
We do. It is true. I hate
they
to
crazy.
say it. We're a little bit nutty down here. I think it's the water.
Hey, it could be, but other than that, stay right there. Stay right there, Holly. Don't disconnect.
All
You guys
right.
have a good night. Like, share, and subscribe to the show. We got more to come here soon, and we're over and out. Peace.
Bye.
Hold on, Holly. Stay right there.
Mm-hmm.